So, kids, James and Hilary and Morgan, it's your mom. Things are going pretty good. Making some steps towards building my school. I have a lot of friends that like the idea. You know, I can't even tell you how devastated I was that we had to sell our horses and lose our farm. And those things were very important to me for y'all and me. I enjoyed doing those things with you. How do you recover from that? Well, you just do, because we're resilient and we have to go on and build our lives, despite the fact that, your dad was a terrible alcoholic. He was kind of functioning, but the problem was he couldn't be honest. So between him and I, there was just no trust. And so I couldn't live that way. I'm just too authentic. I'm real. And I got a hair. That's funny. So I do love you guys. It's not like I'm going... It's just in my heart. I think it's because I gave birth to you and I took care of you and I changed your diapers and I taught you to potty train. And James drove the minivan when he was 3 and I saw it. I was there. Hilary, she used to love minerals, and Nana would take her down. I went one time and they would search for rocks and minerals. And then she went around the apartment complex selling gravel one day when she was in kindergarten, came to me with some money, some change that she'd sold the gravel out of the driveway, which was funny. But we've had a lot of good times. And, one thing that was good about Jerry's, he'd pick up and go. And so we all went as a family, different places. That was fun, which Morgan probably doesn't remember that much because she was so little. But, during the divorce, he wanted a house. He wouldn't leave to get an apartment. And I knew we were extending our budget too far. So we took the equity out of my house that I was going to stay in and bought him a house. And then we went bankrupt. So we went to Richmond. There were more activities, but also that brought more trouble with drugs and alcohol in the city. And Jerry was never good at saying no. So, the kids would want alcohol or drugs or cigarettes, and he can't say no. He could never, set a boundary. And that was one trouble in our marriage, was when you're with somebody, you need boundaries. You need to know how the other person feels. And he just, for some reason, he never really got that skill, I guess, growing up as a child. And I think Gail had a lot of trouble with him, too. I think she would have stayed in the marriage had he not been dishonest and drinking. I know he had a scar on his arm. You get mad at me for... I didn't do that much physical violence to him. I remember 2 times. One time I hit him in the face when he knocked down my... Nana had brought me up a rose bush on Mother's Day, and you children planted it, and he went out with his weed whacker and just took it down. That's passive aggressiveness, and I couldn't trust him. He ran over my dog, and I'm like, I wasn't sure that wasn't on purpose, to be honest, because he's dangerously passive aggressive. And then riding in the car with him, going 75 miles an hour, about 18 inches from the bumper of the car in front, that was dangerously passive aggressive. And you have to understand, in a marriage, it's important for happiness that you feel physical closeness, that you have a relationship sexually. And I just couldn't do that. I've been a total prostitute to want to have sex with him after he lied. So that caused even more problems. So as you can see, over time, it compounded. And I just said, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for the arts. I'm just going to do it. And I did. And I've made it. I'm in a museum. So let's have a party. This is awesome. Jennifer, she had a neglected childhood. Nobody really paid much attention to her because we were all focused on different things. And Mom was having her struggles. Dad was gone most of the time with bipolar. And then I was with Grandmommy a lot more, and I think she might have been envious of that. I would have been, because Grandmommy was super sweet and buying you stuff. And, she was a all giving, all loving grandmother, whereas Granny was not. Granny, my mom's mom had some troubles, and I could see where my mom would also have troubles connecting physically with someone. And then, of course, my dad was very sexual, and he had affairs and things. It was just a mess. But I guess in the future, I'm going to continue working on my dream of building this school. It's kind of just my knowledge base of what I know and what I've been doing since I wanted to be an artist since I was about 19. And if you think I'm narcissistic because I think I'm a good artist, well, you have to believe in yourself in the arts. If you don't believe in you, there's certainly nobody else that's going to believe in you. And as a mom, I think I did some things right. I think the hard part was when I got angry with Jerry and I had rage because it was like he was pulling the wool not over my eyes. I was stupid. Why did I believe this person? But then on the other hand, I'm so happy I did. I did make that mistake because I think James and Morgan are just a total blessing to this world. And I think that you three, I hope y'all are close siblings. I wanted Hilary to have a brother or sister. And then, of course, Morgan was a miracle baby with the IUD. She was such an easy baby, too. Just so sweet. So all those years I spent in a marriage of unhappiness with my partner brought about some beauty, too. The beauty is my children and then my grandchildren. And I think family gives you a purpose in this life. Sometimes you have to serve family that's ill. They could have leukemia like Kent. They could have mental health issues like me, like my dad. Even Mom, she suffered mental health issues, but she got help, and so she got a lot better. But just to see or talk, you don't have to do anything. Just for me, just to see and be with you or talk to you is just a pleasure because I'm so proud of you all. And I think from the phoenix from the flame, our lives burnt down. The whole thing burnt away. I lost everything. And not that I'm into stuff. I don't need much stuff. But I can't. I'm still trying to have a perspective on the amount of damage that went through with the breaking up of our family. If I could have held it together, I would have. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I walked to the ABC store with my son James in my hand, and as I was walking in, Jerry was coming out of the liquor store after he said he would not drink in the house. I knew that when he was on the road, he would drink. I knew it. There's no way to stop that. But he had made a promise in counseling that he would not drink in the house. And he had been drinking. He'd been sitting at the computer in the evenings with his glass of wine, big glass of wine or tequila, and not being present, like you kids and I were all around doing stuff. And he was just zoned out on the computer drinking. And then when I caught him red-handed going in, he said, I'm only going to have one drink. And that's just a lie. If he can't be honest with his issues, what do I do? What do I do? I don't make any money. I'm an artist. What am I going to do? I'll have to depend on him for my livelihood until I make it as an artist, if I make it as an artist. And he knew that. I mean, he knew he lied to me about that. We were up in Maryland. I can't remember if I was pregnant yet or not, but he drove me by the house that he owned. Gail took every penny of equity out of that house and bought her a townhouse. He did not own a house. So he sent me false positive messages about finances. Like, oh, you will be fine. I own a house. That was fraud. And I'm not mad at him because I know he suffers some illness, psychological illness, as well as, alcoholism, just something from his psyche, from his childhood. And Dave did too, boy. His brother Dave had some real problems too. And I think some of it stems back to Patrick being born, and the whole focus of the whole family went to Patrick. And they took the attention off the two boys that needed it. And then Patrick had a heart problem. He was going to die at age 6, and the doctor saved him. For what? For what? To take all the focus off the two kids that need that was so bad. They should just let that little boy die. He couldn't even wipe himself, and his mom clamped down on him as her purpose for living. And anyway, it was very dysfunctional. Jerry came from a dysfunctional family. He wasn't important. I mean, not like Patrick was. So it was just crazy. But I guess everybody comes from dysfunction. But the only thing I can promise you with me is you'll get the truth. I'm not going to persuade you with manipulation. I will tell you the truth as I see it. And then I want you to make the decisions that you choose to make. But you have to realize that different people have different protocols in their lives. Jennifer has a protocol. My dad has a protocol. HV has a protocol. My mom, she loved her family, and that's what she lived for, was her kids, pretty much. And I understand that, but I do have a career, which is different. My mom, she was a secretary, which she enjoyed the job. But I have a true career that I'm pursuing. And but I will always tell you the truth. I will if you're ready to hear the truth, Jerry was not a bad person. He just was very sick with alcoholism.